You are bodyguard number 13. Victoria Hale said it without looking up. Her voice was calm, polished, and cold enough to quiet the entire executive security office. Cole Mercer stood across from her desk in a dark suit that still looked unfamiliar on him, his hands relaxed at his sides. Behind Victoria, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked downtown Seattle beneath a gray morning sky. Beside her chair sat a sleek black wheelchair with customized controls, polished metal, and the kind of engineering that probably cost more than Cole had earned in the last 3 years combined. 12 men, Victoria continued, turning a page in his file. Former police officers, military contractors, private security specialists. Every one of them quit within a week. Gavin Cross, the company's chief operating officer, leaned against the wall with a faint smile. Some lasted less. A few security staff nearby exchanged amused looks. Cole said nothing. Gavin studied him. You nervous? No. Overconfident? No. Then maybe you have not read the reports. Cole finally looked at him. I read all 12. Gavin's smile widened. And you still came? Cole nodded once. That is either brave or stupid. Victoria looked up now. She was 37, pale-skinned, composed, with chestnut hair pulled neatly behind her shoulders and eyes that had learned not to ask anyone for sympathy. 16 months earlier, an accident had changed the way she moved through the world. It had not changed the way she commanded it. Mr. Mercer, she said, I do not need a hero. Good. The room went still. Gavin straightened. Victoria narrowed her eyes. Excuse me. Cole's voice remained even. Heroes usually want to be noticed. One of the guards near the door gave a quiet laugh. Gavin did not. And what exactly do you want? Cole glanced at the security camera above the office entrance, then at the emergency exit, then at a tablet resting beside Victoria's hand. 3 details. 3 seconds. A paycheck. That earned another laugh. Victoria did not smile. You have a daughter. It was not a question. Cole's eyes shifted back to her. Emily. 10. Single parent? Yes. And you think this job is appropriate for a single father? Cole paused. There were questions a man answered with pride, and questions he answered with truth. I think feeding my daughter is appropriate. The laughter disappeared. Victoria closed his file. Then understand something. I do not want pity. I do not want someone hovering every time I reach for a door. I do not want to be treated like glass because I use a wheelchair. Cole's expression never changed. Understood. If I tell you to stay back? Depends. Gavin chuckled. That attitude got the last man fired. Cole looked at him. Did he quit, or was he fired? Silence. Victoria's eyes sharpened. He quit. His report says termination processing began 6 hours before his resignation. Gavin's face tightened. Victoria slowly turned toward him. You memorized the file? Cole shook his head. Only the parts that did not make sense. For the first time, Victoria looked at him with something other than impatience. Cole stepped closer to her desk and placed the 12 resignation summaries in a neat stack. Different men, different backgrounds. Same pattern. What pattern? She asked. Each one had a security failure within 48 hours of starting. Bad access code. Missing vehicle. Disabled camera. False schedule change. Gavin folded his arms. Coincidence. Cole looked at him, then back at Victoria. Maybe. Victoria waited. Cole continued. But 12 coincidences usually mean somebody is counting. The room fell quiet enough to hear the rain tapping the glass. Victoria studied the man everyone had expected to dismiss within days. Worn confidence. No boasting. No visible fear. Nothing that explained why his military record ended with 3 sealed years and a commendation page almost entirely redacted. And what do you think the 12 men missed? She asked. Cole looked toward the dark camera in the upper corner of the room. Its indicator light had just gone out. His face changed almost imperceptibly. By 7:15 the next morning, Cole Mercer was standing barefoot in his kitchen, packing a peanut butter sandwich into a lunch bag while his daughter searched the living room for a missing science worksheet. The house was small, quiet, and still carrying the faint smell of coffee and laundry detergent. It was nothing like Hale Dynamics. No marble floors. No security glass. No people pretending not to watch him. Just Emily. Dad, you moved it. I did not move it. You always say that. Cole closed the lunch bag and looked toward the couch. A corner of white paper stuck out from beneath a cushion. He pulled it free. Found it. Emily appeared in the doorway wearing one sneaker, and holding the other. Where was it? Classified. She narrowed her eyes. That means under the couch. Cole smiled. Get your shoe on. He had taken the Hale job for practical reasons. Health insurance. Predictable hours. A salary that could finally stop him from calculating grocery totals in his head before reaching the register. He had not taken it because he missed security work. He had spent years trying not to miss it. On the refrigerator, beside Emily's spelling test and a faded photograph of her mother, hung a school calendar covered in red circles. Parent conference, soccer practice, science fair. Cole looked at it every morning because these were the missions he could not afford to fail. Are you protecting somebody famous? Emily asked. Cole poured coffee into a travel mug. Something like that. Is she nice? Too early to tell. Does she have kids? I do not know. Emily picked up her backpack. Maybe that is why she is grumpy. Cole gave her a look. We do not diagnose strangers before breakfast. You do. I assess. Same thing. He laughed quietly, then drove her 8 miles to school beneath a pale Seattle sky. At the curb, Emily leaned back through the open door. You are picking me up today, right? Yes. Not Aunt Rachel. Me. Promise. Cole looked at her. Promises had weight now. More than rank. More than medals. More than anything he had once carried into places he no longer talked about. Promise. She ran toward the entrance. Cole watched until she disappeared inside. 40 minutes later, he entered Hale Dynamics through the employee security gate. Daniel Brooks, the former head of executive protection, was waiting near the elevators with a cardboard box of personal belongings. Cole recognized him from the files. Bodyguard number 12. Daniel looked tired. Not weak. Tired. Mercer, he asked. Cole nodded. Daniel glanced toward the cameras. They hired you fast. You quit fast. Daniel gave a dry smile. You read the report? All of it. Then you know what they wrote. I know what they wanted documented. That made Daniel study him more carefully. The elevator doors opened, but neither man moved. You have a kid? Daniel asked. Daughter. Then listen to me. His voice dropped. Nothing in that building fails by accident. Cole said nothing. The cameras. The access cards. The schedule changes. Every time I fixed one problem, another appeared somewhere else. Then Gavin Cross started asking why I could not keep Victoria safe. Did you tell Victoria? Tried. Daniel looked toward the executive floors above them. She trusts systems. She trusts data. She does not trust fear. The doors started closing. Cole stopped them with one hand. Why did you really leave? Daniel's expression hardened. Because on day 6, somebody changed her medical transport route without authorization. Cole went still. Who had access? 3 people. Victoria? Yes. You? Yes. Cole waited. Daniel looked him directly in the eyes. And Gavin. The elevator doors closed between them. Cole stood alone in the lobby for a moment, listening to the soft mechanical hum overhead. Then his phone vibrated. A message from Emily. Do not forget pickup. Cole slipped the phone away and looked toward the dead camera above the executive elevator. Yesterday, one light had gone dark. Today, he knew it was not the first. Victoria Hale was already in the executive conference room when Cole arrived upstairs. She sat at the head of a long walnut table, sunlight cutting across the glass wall behind her, a tablet open beside one hand, and a stack of financial reports arranged with almost military precision. 3 senior executives were speaking at once. Victoria listened without interrupting until they finished. Then she looked at the numbers and said, No. The room went quiet. We cannot delay the product review another quarter, one executive said. Then fix the problem this quarter. The board will push back. The board can push. Her voice remained calm. That does not mean I move. Cole stood near the door, watching the room. Victoria noticed him after a moment. You are late. By 38 seconds. You counted. Yes. Gavin Cross leaned back in his chair. That sounds exhausting. Cole looked at him. Not really. Victoria closed the tablet. Gentlemen, give us the room. The executives gathered their papers and left. Gavin stayed. Victoria turned toward him. That includes you. His expression tightened. I am the chief operating officer. And I am still the chief executive officer. A beat passed. Gavin smiled thinly and left. Cole waited until the door closed. You enjoy that? He asked. Victoria looked at him. What? Making people uncomfortable. Sometimes people confuse comfort with competence. Cole almost smiled. Fair enough. She moved her wheelchair away from the table and toward the windows. The motor was quiet, controlled by a small panel near her right hand. Daniel Brooks spoke to you downstairs. It was not a question. Cole did not bother denying it. He did. He warned you. Yes. And now you think Gavin is trying to sabotage my security. I think someone is. Victoria turned toward him. You have known me less than 24 hours. I do not need 24 hours to notice a pattern. Patterns can be misleading. So can trust. Her expression hardened. Careful. Cole nodded once. Understood. She rolled closer. Do not mistake my chair for weakness, Mr. Mercer. I do not. Most people do. That sounds like their problem. The answer stopped her. There was no sympathy in his face. No awkwardness. No attempt to make her feel brave for existing in the same room as everyone else. Just respect. Real respect did not soften the truth. It made room for it. Victoria looked toward the skyline. 16 months ago, my car went through a guardrail outside Bellevue. Cole said nothing. 3 surgeries. 9 months of rehabilitation. Every doctor had a different version of what might come back. Her hand rested lightly near the chair control. I spent my entire life building a company where every variable could be measured. Then I woke up in a hospital and discovered my own body had become the one system I could not command. Cole's voice was quiet. That would make anyone angry. I was not angry. You still are. She turned sharply. He did not look away. After a long moment, she gave the smallest laugh. You really are not very good at making clients comfortable. Daniel mentioned that was not the job. Victoria studied him again. Do you know why the others left? Not yet. Because they treated every problem like danger and every decision I made like a mistake. They hovered. They argued. They made me feel like surviving meant surrendering authority over my own life. Cole nodded slowly. Then we do this differently. How? You make decisions. I make sure someone is not making them for you. Silence settled between them. Then Victoria's chair gave a soft electronic tone. She frowned and touched the control panel. Nothing happened. She tried again. The screen flickered once, then displayed a route command neither of them had entered. Cole stepped closer, his expression changing. Do not touch anything. Victoria looked down at the screen. That route is for the underground garage. Were you going there? No. Cole crouched beside the chair, careful not to touch her or the controls. A second command appeared. Scheduled departure. 5:45 this evening. Victoria's face went still. I never scheduled that. Cole looked toward the conference room camera. Its indicator light was dark again. Then he looked back at her. Neither did your chair. For the next 2 hours, Cole said almost nothing. He did not accuse Gavin. He did not call the police. He did not tell Victoria to cancel her meetings. He simply watched. The chair's system log showed a remote instruction coming from inside Hale Dynamics, but the user identification had been scrubbed. The executive garage schedule had been changed at 5:12 that morning. A private elevator had been assigned to Victoria at 5:45, and the security camera covering that elevator had already failed twice in the past month. 3 details. 1 pattern. Victoria sat across from Cole in her office, arms folded. You are being very quiet. I am thinking. That usually takes this long? When somebody wants me to notice the wrong thing. She studied him. You think the chair command was bait? Maybe. For what? Cole glanced toward the glass wall, where Gavin was speaking with 2 board members near the conference room. To make us focus on the chair instead of who benefits when you lose confidence in your own security. Victoria's jaw tightened. I have not lost confidence. Good. You sound disappointed. I sound careful. She looked away. The last bodyguard said I was reckless. Were you? Sometimes. Then he might have been right. Victoria turned back sharply. You are supposed to be on my side. Cole's voice stayed calm. I am. That does not sound like it. Respect is not agreeing with you. Silence. The city moved below them in silver rain. Victoria looked down at her hands, then at the wheelchair control panel. Do you know what people do when they see this chair? Make assumptions. They lower their voices. They offer help I did not ask for. They explain things twice. Her expression hardened. Some of them stopped looking at me entirely. Cole nodded. I noticed. And you? I see a chief executive with a compromised security system. That answer settled somewhere deeper than she expected. You really do not feel sorry for me. No, why not? Cole leaned back slightly. Because you do not need pity. A pause. You need someone to stop lying to you. The office door opened. Gavin Cross stepped inside without knocking. There you are. His smile was smooth, but his eyes went immediately to Cole. "We have a problem with tonight's gala." Victoria's expression cooled. "What problem?" "The venue security team wants to move your arrival to the underground entrance." Cole did not move. "Why?" Gavin looked at him. "Crowd control." "Who requested the change?" "The venue." "Name?" Gavin hesitated. Barely a second. "Their security director." Cole waited. "Name?" Gavin's smile thinned. "Do you interrogate everyone?" "Only when answers keep changing." Victoria looked between them. "Gavin, who requested it?" "I will get you the name." Cole stood. "Cancel the underground arrival." Gavin gave a short laugh. "You do not have that authority." "He does now," Victoria said. The room went still. Gavin looked at her. "Excuse me." Victoria's eyes never left his. "For tonight, Cole controls security routing." "After one day?" "After 12 failures." Gavin's expression hardened. 13, if you are counting him. Cole picked up the printed security schedule. "I am." Gavin turned toward the door. "This is a mistake." Cole looked at Victoria. "Maybe." Then he glanced at the schedule again. But not the first one. 20 minutes later, Cole found something buried in the transportation records. Every former bodyguard had been blamed for a different mistake. But each mistake had occurred on a day when Victoria's route passed through the same underground loading level. Same location. Same blind camera. Same administrative override. Cole stared at the screen, then at the gala itinerary for that evening. 5:45. Underground entrance. He finally understood why 12 men had been made to look incompetent. Someone was not testing Victoria's security. Someone was training it to fail. By 4:30 that afternoon, Victoria had changed the gala route twice, canceled the underground arrival, and refused 3 separate recommendations from Cole without explaining why. He noticed the pattern. She noticed that he noticed. Neither said anything until they were alone in the executive preparation suite overlooking downtown Seattle. Rain traced thin lines across the windows. A dark evening dress hung nearby for the gala, but Victoria remained in her charcoal suit, her wheelchair positioned beside a low table covered with schedules, access maps, and security reports. "You are hovering," she said. Cole stood 6 feet away. "No. You have been within 10 feet of me for the last hour." "That is called working." The others said the same thing. Cole looked at her. And then they quit. Victoria's expression hardened. "Maybe they realized I do not need someone deciding where I can go." "I have not decided where you can go. You canceled my entrance." "I canceled an entrance that appears in 12 compromised security reports." "You see the difference?" "Yes." "Good." She rolled toward the window. "Because every man before you eventually made the same mistake." Cole waited. "What mistake?" "They stopped protecting me and started managing me." Her voice stayed controlled, but there was something older beneath it. "They moved chairs without asking. They answered questions for me. They told people I was tired when I was not. One of them even told a reporter I needed rest because my condition was difficult." Cole's jaw tightened slightly. That was not his call. Victoria looked back at him. "Exactly." Silence filled the room. The building's ventilation system hummed softly above them. Cole glanced once at the door, once at the ceiling camera, then back at her. "You think I am doing the same thing. I think eventually you will." "Why?" "Because everyone does." Cole did not answer right away. Then he stepped closer, stopping far enough away that she did not have to look up sharply. "I am not here because you cannot walk." Victoria's face went still. "Careful. I am here because someone wants you isolated." Her eyes narrowed. Cole continued. "The chair is not the problem. The underground garage is not the problem. Your schedule is not the problem." He tapped one finger against the stack of reports. "The problem is that somebody has spent months convincing everyone around you that every failure is random." Victoria stared at him. "And you think you are the first person smart enough to see it?" "No. Then why did 12 trained professionals miss it?" Cole looked toward the rain-streaked glass. "Maybe they did not." That changed the room. Victoria leaned slightly forward. "What does that mean?" "Daniel warned me this morning." Daniel was angry. He was scared. "Of what?" "Not you." Cole's voice dropped. "What happened around you?" Victoria looked away. For a moment, the steel in her expression gave way to something more human. Tiredness. Frustration. Maybe loneliness. "Do you know what it is like," she said quietly, "to have everyone around you decide fear is care?" Cole did not pretend to understand what he had not lived. "No," she looked at him again. That answer surprised her more than sympathy would have. Cole continued. But I know what it is like when people use protection as an excuse to take away your choices. Victoria studied him. Military. He said nothing. Your file has 3 sealed years. Still nothing. You expect me to trust you while you hide half your life? Cole's eyes stayed calm. No, then what do you expect? Time. A pause. And tonight, I need you to trust one thing. What? Cole placed the gala access map in front of her and pointed to a route marked in red. Every bad incident led you toward the underground level. Victoria followed the line with her eyes. And tonight we do the opposite. Meaning, you arrive through the public entrance. She stared at him. With cameras? With witnesses? Crowds? Controlled crowds. That is your safer option? Cole nodded. Danger likes privacy. Victoria looked at the map, then at him. And if you are wrong? Cole's voice stayed quiet. Then you fire bodyguard number 13 tomorrow. For the first time all day, the corner of her mouth moved. You really think you will make it to tomorrow? Cole glanced toward the elevator camera as its status light blinked once, then went dark. That depends on who is counting. At 5:42, the ballroom entrance of the Rainier Grand was already crowded with donors, reporters, technology executives, and city officials waiting beneath warm gold lights. Victoria arrived exactly as planned through the public lobby, not the underground garage. Camera flashes reflected across the marble floor. Cole walked beside her, never touching the wheelchair, never crowding her, simply matching her pace while his eyes moved constantly. Front entrance, service corridor, elevator bank, balcony, 3 exits, 2 cameras, 1 security officer who kept checking his phone instead of the crowd. Victoria noticed his silence. You see something? Maybe. That is becoming your favorite word. It keeps people from getting careless. She almost smiled. Then the lights went out. Not gradually. Completely. The ballroom disappeared into darkness, followed by startled voices, phones lighting up, and the faint emergency tone of a building switching to backup power. Stay where you are, Cole said. Victoria's voice sharpened. Do not start giving me orders. Then consider it a strong recommendation. Emergency lights flickered on in red strips along the walls. Victoria touched her chair control. The screen remained dark. She tried again. Nothing. Cole. He crouched beside her without touching the controls. Battery. Fully charged. Manual release. Rear left. Cole looked behind the chair, then stopped. A small service panel had been opened. Someone accessed it. Victoria's face changed. When? Recently. The crowd shifted around them as staff began directing guests toward exits. Cole stood. We are not using the elevator. Obviously. And not the underground route. Victoria looked at him. Still counting. Always. A security manager approached quickly. Ms. Hale, we have a private evacuation route through the service level. Cole looked at his badge. Name? Martin Ellis. Who sent you? Mr. Cross. Victoria's eyes met Cole's. The manager continued. We need to move now. Cole shook his head. No, sir, this is not your call. Tonight it is. The manager looked irritated. The public lobby is exposed. Cole glanced at the red emergency lights, then toward the hundreds of phones still glowing around them. That is why it is safer. Victoria understood before the manager did. Witnesses. Cameras. Noise. Visibility. Cole leaned closer to her. Your chair has a mechanical release. Can you direct me? Victoria nodded. 2 inches below the left wall housing. Small silver lever. Cole found it and disengaged the powered lock. I am going to move the chair manually. Is that all right? She looked at him for half a second. The question mattered. Yes. Cole began guiding her through the ballroom at a steady pace, keeping them within the crowd instead of behind curtains or service doors. Victoria noticed the difference immediately. He was not taking control from her. He was helping her keep it. Near the main lobby, Gavin Cross appeared from a side corridor. Where are you going? Out, Victoria said. The secure route is downstairs. Cole stopped. No, Gavin stared at him. You are risking her life. Then tell me why her chair was remotely disabled 90 seconds before the power failed. Gavin's expression did not change quickly enough. Victoria saw it. Remotely? She asked. Cole kept his eyes on Gavin. The battery is fine. The drive system was locked by command. Gavin shook his head. That is impossible. You knew that fast. Silence. Around them, people continued moving toward the doors. Reporters were still filming. Security staff were listening now. Victoria's voice became very quiet. Gavin, who controls the chair network. Medical systems. Who authorize corporate access. He hesitated. Cole watched him. 1 second. 2. 3. Answer her. Gavin looked toward the service corridor. That was all Cole needed. He moved Victoria farther into the public lobby. Stay with the crowd. Where are you going? She asked. Cole glanced toward the dark corridor, then back at her. Nowhere you cannot see me. And for the first time that evening, Gavin Cross looked less like a man protecting a company and more like a man watching a plan come apart in public. The public lobby had become strangely calm by the time emergency power stabilized. Guests clustered near the front entrance, reporters kept their cameras raised, and hotel staff tried to restore order without creating panic. Victoria remained near the center of it all, her wheelchair still in manual mode, one hand resting on the armrest while she watched Gavin across the marble floor. Cole stood several feet away, close enough to protect her, far enough to let everyone see that she was still in control of her own space. Gavin forced a smile. This is getting ridiculous. Victoria looked at him. Then explain it. There was a power failure. And my chair. A technical malfunction. Cole answered quietly. It was a remote lock command. Gavin turned toward him. You were guessing. No, Cole held up the chair diagnostic screen, now running on backup power. The command came through a corporate maintenance credential. Victoria's eyes narrowed. Which department? Cole looked at the log. Executive operations. Gavin's expression tightened. Half the company has access. Not to her mobility system. Cole's voice stayed level. Only 4 administrator profiles do. Victoria said nothing. Gavin did. You have been here 2 days. Long enough. You think that makes you an expert? Cole looked at him. No, then stop acting like one. The words were meant to humiliate him. A few people nearby turned to watch. Cole did not react. He had heard louder insults from men who knew less. He had learned long ago that dignity did not need volume. Victoria watched him absorb the insult without flinching. Then she looked at Gavin. Who are the 4 profiles? Gavin hesitated. Medical support, information technology, executive security, and mine. Silence settled over the lobby. Cole did not smile. He simply asked, which one issued the command? Gavin looked toward the elevators. We need the information technology team. Already called them. A new voice came from behind Cole. Daniel Brooks stepped through the crowd beside a hotel security supervisor. Victoria stared. Daniel. Cole called me after the first camera failure. Daniel held up his phone. I kept copies of every incident from my week here. Gavin's face hardened. You violated company policy. Daniel shook his head. I documented security failures. Cole nodded toward the phone. Show her the timestamps. Daniel opened the records. Same underground level. Same camera outage. Same executive operations override. Again. Again. Victoria looked slowly toward Gavin. 12 guards. Gavin said nothing. 12 failures. Still nothing. Cole stepped closer to Victoria, but he spoke to Gavin. You did not need them gone permanently. Gavin's eyes shifted. You only needed them discredited. Victoria's voice was almost a whisper. Why? Gavin finally looked at her. Because you were going to destroy the company. By doing what? By refusing the merger. Victoria went still. Cole watched the answer land. Gavin continued, quieter now. The board was ready. The financing was arranged. You kept blocking everything. So you undermined my security? I created pressure. Victoria's expression turned cold. You used my disability to make me doubt my own independence. Gavin looked away. That silence said more than denial ever could. Cole's face changed, not with anger, but with something firmer. That ends tonight. Gavin gave a bitter laugh. And who are you to decide that? Before Cole could answer, Daniel looked at him differently. Recognition had been building since the lobby. Mercer, he said slowly. Cole Mercer. Cole's eyes moved to him. Daniel stared. Naval Special Warfare. The room seemed to quiet by itself. Victoria looked from Daniel to Cole. Gavin frowned. Daniel's voice dropped with disbelief. You were with the teams. Cole said nothing. Daniel took one step closer. You are that Mercer. Victoria turned toward Cole. What does he mean? Cole looked at her, calm as ever. It means I had another job before this one. Daniel shook his head. Another job? He looked around the lobby. He was a Navy SEAL. And suddenly Bodyguard number 13 was no longer the man everyone thought had gotten lucky. He was the man who had been seeing the danger long before anyone else believed it was there. Victoria did not speak for several seconds. The words hung in the lobby with a weight no one seemed willing to disturb. Navy SEAL. Cole looked exactly the same as he had 10 minutes earlier. Same dark suit. Same tired eyes. Same quiet posture. No pride. No performance. Gavin was the first to break the silence. That proves nothing. Cole looked at him. You are right. Gavin seemed almost surprised. My past is not evidence. Victoria turned toward Daniel. Then what is? Daniel held up the incident records. The pattern. Cole nodded. And the access chain. A hotel security technician arrived with a portable terminal connected to the restored network. Cole stepped aside rather than taking over. Pull the executive operations audit from the last 90 days. Gavin immediately objected. You do not have authorization. Victoria looked at the technician. You do now? The technician began searching. Cole stayed beside Victoria. You knew this might happen, she said quietly. I suspected. And you said nothing about your background. It was not relevant. Victoria looked at him. You protected classified operations, and you think that is not relevant to executive security? Cole gave the smallest shrug. You hired me to do the job I have now. There was something about that answer that reached her more deeply than the reveal itself. He was not asking to be respected for who he had been. He was asking to be judged by what he was doing now. The technician turned the screen toward them. I found 12 manual overrides associated with executive operations. Victoria's eyes narrowed. User? The technician hesitated. They were routed through a shared administrative credential. Gavin exhaled. There. Shared. Anyone could have used it. Cole looked at the timestamps. Maybe. He pointed to 3 entries. Now compare these with Mr. Cross's building access. The technician opened another log. Silence returned. Gavin had entered the executive security suite within minutes of 9 of the 12 overrides. On the remaining 3 dates, his remote access token had authenticated from a company device. Victoria stared at the screen. You were there every time. Gavin's composure finally cracked. That does not mean I issued anything. No, Cole said. It means we keep going. Gavin looked at him with open resentment. You enjoy this? No, could have fooled me. Cole's voice stayed quiet. Truth is not supposed to feel good. It is supposed to be clear. Daniel opened another file. There is more. He showed Victoria copies of messages he had saved during his final week. Instructions from Gavin's office had repeatedly changed arrival routes, replaced security drivers, and delayed camera repairs. Each message had been framed as an operational adjustment. Together, they formed something else. Control. Victoria read them slowly. You wanted me dependent on your system. Gavin said nothing. You wanted the board to believe I could not manage my own security. Still nothing. Then you could argue I was unfit to block the merger. Gavin finally looked at her. The merger would have saved this company. By taking it from me. By protecting it from your judgment. The words landed harder than any confession. Victoria's face did not collapse. It became still. That was her strength. Not never being hurt. Refusing to let hurt make the next decision for her. Daniel, she said, contact corporate counsel. She looked at hotel security. Preserve every log. Then she turned to Gavin. You are suspended effective immediately, pending investigation. Gavin laughed bitterly. And you trust him now? He nodded toward Cole. Victoria looked at Cole, then back at Gavin. I trust what he did. Cole said nothing. Gavin continued. 13 will quit too. Victoria's eyes sharpened. Maybe. Then she rested one hand on the wheelchair armrest and added. But he was the first one who never tried to make me smaller, so he could feel necessary. The lobby fell silent again. This time, Cole was the one who looked away. 3 weeks later, the 13th floor conference room at Hale Dynamics looked almost exactly the same as it had on Cole Mercer's first morning. Same rain against the glass. Same walnut table. Same city moving below. But the room no longer felt like it belonged to fear. Gavin Cross was gone pending a full corporate and federal investigation. The board had frozen the merger. Outside auditors were reviewing every security override, every route change, and every false incident that had been used to weaken Victoria's authority. Daniel Brooks had been brought back temporarily to help rebuild executive protection. And Cole was sitting across from Victoria with a contract in front of him. Director of Executive Protection, she said. Cole looked at the salary. Then the benefits. Then the schedule. Victoria noticed. You skipped the title. Titles do not pick Emily up from school. Victoria slid another page toward him. Read Section 6. Cole did. Flexible hours. Emergency coverage shared with a second director. Protected family leave. No mandatory travel without advance agreement. He looked up. You wrote this. I had help. From legal? Victoria's expression softened. From Emily. Cole stared at her. You talked to my daughter? She called my office. How did she get the number? Daniel. Cole closed his eyes briefly. Of course. Victoria smiled. She had questions. That sounds dangerous. She wanted to know whether your new job would make you miss soccer practice. Cole looked back at the contract. And I told her no. You promised. Victoria's smile faded into something more sincere. Yes. That word mattered to him. She knew it now. Cole picked up the pen but did not sign immediately. There is one condition. Victoria raised an eyebrow. You are negotiating after I rewrote the entire position around your daughter? Yes. You really are difficult. I have been told. What is the condition? Cole looked at her chair. Nobody on my team touches it without asking you first. Victoria became still. That is your condition? Protection does not mean ownership. A long silence followed. Then Victoria nodded once. Agreed. Cole signed. 6 weeks passed. Security at Hale Dynamics changed quietly. Cameras were audited by independent teams. Access routes were randomized. No single executive controlled mobility systems, building security, and transportation schedules anymore. Victoria still made her own decisions. Cole still disagreed with some of them. Neither pretended respect meant obedience. That was why it worked. On a Friday evening in October, Cole came home to find Emily setting 3 plates on the kitchen table instead of 2. We expecting someone? He asked. Emily kept arranging silverware. Maybe. The doorbell rang. Cole gave her a look. You planned this. I am 10. I plan things. He opened the door. Victoria was waiting on the porch in a navy coat, a small bakery box resting across her lap. No assistant. No security detail. Just her. Apple pie, she said. Cole leaned against the doorframe. Is this a business meeting? No security review? No board emergency? Cole. He smiled. Just checking. Emily called from the kitchen. Tell her to come in before dinner gets cold. Victoria laughed softly. Cole moved aside. Apparently, I have been overruled. She guided her chair across the threshold. Dinner was simple. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, too many green beans because Cole had misjudged the serving size. Emily talked about school. Victoria listened. Cole watched the two of them argue over whether pineapple belonged on pizza and realized how strange peace could feel after years of expecting it to disappear. Later, when Emily went upstairs, Victoria stayed near the porch window. Do you ever think about leaving? She asked. Cole looked at her. The job. All of it. Sometimes. She nodded slowly. And then I remember why I stayed. Victoria looked toward the stairs. Emily. Mostly. Cole smiled faintly. Things changed. She held his gaze. Am I still just a client? The question was quiet. No boardroom confidence. No armor. Cole looked at the woman who had spent years refusing pity, then at the empty dinner plates, then toward the hallway where his daughter had deliberately left the porch light on. Not tonight. Victoria smiled. Good. Cole opened the front door slightly, letting the cool Seattle air into the room. You know, 13 is supposed to be unlucky. Victoria looked up at him. Turns out 13 was lucky. Cole shook his head. Do not tell Emily that. She will take credit. She already did. They both laughed quietly, and that was how the story ended. Not with a medal, not with applause, not with a hero standing above everyone else. It ended with a father who had learned that strength could be gentle, a woman who had learned that protection did not have to mean surrender, and 2 people who discovered that dignity creates something fear never can. Trust. And sometimes, after 12 people walk away, the 13th stays long enough to remind you that second chances do not always arrive loudly. Sometimes they simply show up, keep their word, and choose not to leave.